This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
White trash fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. Cat drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Bois,
Bois.
King of the Hill podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
Rusty, we are all the way at season 6, episode 7, or in the year of our Lord 6 ABE 1-2.
Ooh, 1-2.
Torch
1-2.
Song Hillogy.
Yeah. Torch Song Hillogy. And we got a little trivia tidbit here from Artie.
Torch Song Trilogy?
Yeah, there was the movie you said, Torch Song Trilogy, which the plot of that movie has zero to do with what this TV show is about. But the plot of the movie, just for fun, is the film is centered on a gay man working as a drag queen in maybe one of the worst decades of New York City's existence, the 70s. Like, it was pretty rough.
70s was
time
rough,
for New York.
It's according to who you were as to
And,
whether it was bad or not.
He was looking for love as he lived with his mother, who was supportive of his lifestyle. So,
Yeah.
good movie, I guess. I've never seen it.
I don't remember who was
Putting
in
it
it.
on my list. I'm gonna watch that.
Harvey Keitel?
I don't know. Let's look.
I can't remember.
I've been on a movie kick lately where I've been watching all kinds of movies that I haven't ever seen before.
Yeah. We started watching Wild Wild Country on Netflix. I thought I had already seen it, but I guess I had not. It's about
Harvey Fierstein.
Harvey Firestein. Yeah,
Firestein,
I got you. He's the one that talks like that.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy. We started watching this thing about the cults, the Bhagwam, who moved or was basically moving 10,000 people to the middle of Oregon. They bought this giant ranch, like 600,000 acres or something. I mean, it's a ginormous place. And then the little town next to them, Antelope, Oregon, who had a total population at any one time of 100 people, got very upset that they were around. Then there was some sort of documentary movie that came out that showed all their sex parties and their weird screaming and shit like that. And so everybody got all pissed off, and the town wanted them to leave. They didn't want to leave, so they started buying up stuff in the town, and that's pretty much where I'm at in the documentary. It came out in 2018. I thought I had already seen it. I guess I hadn't, but it's very good. It's made by the Duplass brothers.
I've been. It might be too controversial to talk about what I've been listening to.
What have you been listening to?
There's this guy who is he has a master's degree in bacteriology, mostly to do with a lot of his research is drug related, pharmacological, and so he's also he has a PhD, a doctorate in Greek. Classic Greek, ancient Greek and stuff like that. So, and he doesn't do it from a religious perspective, where a lot of people who explore languages like that do it from a religious perspective. He doesn't do it from that. He does
Latin
it from
and things like that,
a scientific perspective. And there's a lot of books that were written around, a lot of Greek writings around the same time as the Bible. And there's like a lot of controversial stuff that he talks about, because he gives the direct translation as a Greek classicist gives it, not as it's translated by, the clergy or anything. It's like a scientist translating it. So he gives you these direct, what it really says. And some of it's real controversial, like when Jesus was arrested, he was arrested in a public garden with a naked boy kind of thing. So it kind of starts to explore stuff that's like super, super controversial.
Naked boy.
Yeah, really controversial stuff.
My least favorite superhero, Naked Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. So this episode, February 17th, 2002. It's all about the Olympics.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of.
I like
It's
the Olympics.
loosely based around the Olympics. Yeah, you were telling me before that you had a big family tie to the Olympics.
Yeah, well, everybody, it's like everybody always watches the major events, whatever used to be on. Because nowadays you can watch every event, but back in those days, it's whatever
Bob
was
Costas.
on prime time.
Yeah.
It's whatever prime time was on. So, the big ski jumps, summer basketball.
He used
To watch America win every year.
I don't know about this year. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's crazy how competitive sports we used to dominate as a country. It's funny how competitive other entities are getting in that sport. There was an American football team in something recently that got beat by a Japanese football team. American football.
Yeah. I'm thinking about like the French team. Now I don't know who else is on this team, but Wemby from my Spurs is on that, and so is Rudy Gobert, and they were the two finalists for Gobert won for Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA.
Yeah.
And so good luck getting to the basket, China. I mean, it's just like nobody can get to the basket around them, so they were beating people like crazy. So we'll see what happens. It's always interesting. I know the one year that Argentina won the gold medal in basketball, that was a big black eye for the U.S. But I didn't care because Manu Ginobili was on the team, so I was happy for him.
Well, also unrelated, but right now I'm missing the UEFA Cup, which is the United Europeans Football Cup.
Oh, okay.
And it is a European conference where all the European countries, like a national team thing. And England is in the finals right now.
Is it soccer?
So, yeah, it's soccer. England is playing Spain in the finals, so, rooting for England right now.
There you go. Go England.
Go England.
Okay, so as far as the Olympics goes, I can remember as a kid my family watching it. I seem to have always been pissed off that it was on because it was preempting Laverne and Shirley or something, And that is a reference that will come back up at the end of this episode. So
Yeah, it does.
Okay, let's get started on this sucker. Hey, you know what? I've got a request. This is before we get started.
Yeah.
So
What we got?
I have, and this is nothing new, but I've discovered this Liquid Death company. I know they've been around for a long time, but they've started making. This is always like the can of water I buy when I go to a show. Okay, it's just regular water. Now this one is severed lime, which it's just lime flavored sparkling water basically. But they also make some teas now in this thing. So
here we go. Liquid Death.
That's Arizona. But I reached out to this company last night. I love their tagline, Murder Your Thirst.
No, they're good. Good drink.
I reached out to them last night to talk to them about interviewing somebody, maybe getting a sponsorship, that kind of stuff. If any of you out there would like to contact Liquid Death on our behalf, I am happy to let you do that. I'd love for us to be able to land somebody like this. This would be kind of cool. Yeah. So there you go. You got a little homework. Contact Liquid Death. All right. Season 6, episode 7.
Isn't that the flavored TV water? It's like the fuzzy.
It's sparkling water.
Like,
this one's better though. Their stuff just tastes better than a lot of that crap. I used to drink when I was drinking. I drank those sparkling seltzers. And they never really tasted good.
Yeah.
They just don't taste good.
I like flat water.
Yeah.
Does Liquid Death make a flat water?
Wonder. That's the one I get whenever I go to like concerts and stuff. I'll just buy because it's a 32-ounce can. Lots of water.
My stomach is really sensitive to gases. Whatever's in fizzy water is not the same thing that's in soda. They must carbonate it differently, or not. It must be a different They must carbonate it heavier or something. I don't know what they do, but it just
set off a grenade.
I just don't like. I feel really gassy. It's like drinking beer. Even when I drank, I couldn't drink. People that drank 30 beers used to blow my mind.
I don't understand that.
It used to blow my mind. My stomach would be full after 6, but I could kill a bottle of liquor, but I couldn't drink the beer.
All right, here we go. Torch song Hillogy, February 17, 2002. Again, this is season 6, episode 7 or 6 ABE 12. We start with a kind of a pan shot over Arlen, and we hear Nancy on the TV. Remember that Nancy Gribble is the weather person there.
She is.
And she says, the Olympic torch is lit from one of the few entities older than the games themselves, the sun. Bless you. And then it shows this place in Greece where she says, the flame begins its long journey from Athens, Greece, to its final destination, Salt Lake City, Utah. So we know that in 2002, the Olympic Games were in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Salt Lake City, yep.
She said, and the first leg is being run by Greece's very own Spiro Theranopoulos, who apparently saved a whole herd of goats from a runaway truck. So it shows this guy getting the flame, you know, the whole system where they start with the giant ongoing flame, then they light a torch from it, and then the guy runs.
I got a fun fact about the torch lighting thing. So the trek carrying it up the hill, lighting it on fire, that relay actually originated in Nazi Germany.
Really?
The Germans started that whenever they had the 1939. Was it 9, I think?
I think it was like maybe
no,
39.
definitely not 39. It would have been like 34.
It would have had to have been before that, 32,
6,
34,
36.
36, something
I don't
like
know.
that.
Somewhere in the 30s they definitely had one over there.
Yeah.
There was actually a famous
That's the one where a lot of them backed out
runner.
because that was Jesse Owens.
Yeah,
Right?
Jesse Owens.
Yeah.
I think so. 1936.
Number
Arlen
one,
fixed it for
number
us.
one, he was black, and that was a
was
problem
a huge
at
thing
the time.
because Hitler.
I don't know if you know this, but Nazis didn't like other kinds of people.
Yeah, they wanted to display like not the Nazi prowess or whatever.
Yeah.
There was also a Italian guy from New York, an Italian kid that ran in those Olympics. I just got through reading his book recently. He ran in the Olympics, but he also had to go fight in the Pacific Theater because the next Olympics after Nazi Germany was Tokyo, Japan, which is kind of funny that those two would fall in together like that.
Yeah.
Not planned, by the way, because the committee picks that out years in advance. So those are the two locations. And then so he was supposed to run in the Tokyo one. Well, he ends up crash landing in the sea.
You would think by 1940, though, if that one was in 36, that by 1940 Japan would be in the war. That
they
would
are
be
in the
tough
war by then,
for
yeah.
that committee to pick them.
No, they pick them like years in advance.
Oh, okay.
They pick
All
them out like they already know where the next Olympics going to be
Yeah.
years before it's ever done. At least that's how they do it nowadays, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But so he ends up crash landing in the Pacific Ocean, floats for 75 days to an island in the Pacific that's captured by Japanese, ends up interned in a Japanese prison for 2 years. And then at the end of the war, he gets released, kind of thing. But it was a really crazy story.
Wow.
An Olympic story.
Yeah, an Olympic story. So all four guys are sitting at, I thought they were sitting in Strickland because of the paneling behind them.
Yeah.
But apparently they're in Hank's den, I guess. This is the room that used to be Luann's. Is there a lot of paneling in that one? I don't remember there being a lot of paneling.
Yeah, there's
in
the
that
wood
room.
panel, the old
Okay.
late 70s, early 80s wood paneling. Because
Yeah,
their
that's-
house is like an 80s, ranch style home.
Sure. So anyway, all four guys are there on the couch and in chairs and stuff, and then Bobby's sitting next to him on the floor. Hank says, boy, I've always been a sucker for the torch lighting ceremony, that and the four-man bobsled. I just wish they didn't have to sit so close together.
That's
And then
funny. That was a good joke.
inches away from Bill.
There's a lot of good one-liners in
There's
this.
a lot of them, yeah. And then we hear Nancy again, and she says, and remember, Arlen is still looking for the local hero to carry the flame as it passes through town. You may drop off your essay at the station or any Pinky's Liquor.
Did you notice who
I
it
love
was in the
that.
silhouette when she when she said we're looking
No.
for our hero or
No.
whatever?
I saw the big silhouette of a head with a question mark, but I didn't
It was
see who
Boomhauer.
Oh, was it?
It was Boomhauer's silhouette.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. Bill says, oh, look at Sparrow's Run. He reminds me of a young Hank Hill, only hairier. Dale says, I'd trade a village full of spear eye for one Hank Hill. You took Arlen High to the Texas State Football Championships, you did. And then, again, Bill, and we would have won it all, too, if your ankle hadn't snapped just 2 yards from the goal line. Yep, your dad's a real hero, talking to Bobby. Hank says, no, the guy who beat that shark away with his own arm, he's a hero. I don't know who that guy is, but Bobby says, I've toyed with the idea of being a hero someday, either by doing something or stopping something. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Then I'll get a trophy, and then you'll have to build me my very own trophy shelf. And it shows the shelf full of trophies for Hank. And Hank says, well, actually, Bobby, I already have. Yeah, I started right before you were born. And then it shows the shelf over there, and it's just got a bunch of those spider
And it's just a
plants
bunch of
sitting
spider
on
plants,
it.
yeah.
And he goes, and then, well, And then it kind of shows Bobby looking sad, and he goes, I'll tell you what, spider plants have really thrived on it. That's great, Bobby. Good job. All right, so
That's
now,
tough.
yeah, a little bit later on, Bobby is in there looking at the shelves. He moves one of the spider plants aside, and there's a plaque on it that says Robert Butch Hill. Is it the first time we knew his middle name was Butch?
Nah, maybe, yeah. But I thought his middle name was something different.
Well, today it's Butch. Peggy comes by. She's carrying the laundry, and she sees him looking in there at the plant. She goes, oh, not too close, Bobby. Those leafy green plants can suck the oxygen right out of your body. I don't think that's how that works.
I don't think that's how that works either.
Bobby says, boy, look at all Dad's trophies. I've never been able to win a trophy or build a shelf. I love that part.
That's a good one. That's one of them good one-liners, them zingers.
She goes, oh, honey. She goes, you'll be able to win a trophy. He goes, well, I haven't won one yet, and my body's already starting to go. He just kind of sighs and walks off.
He's 12, yeah. That's right.
Now we see Peggy in the garage. She's on a ladder. She's pulling down some boxes of decorations. We see some boxes. We see 4th of July decorations. We see Memorial Day decorations, Veterans Day decorations, a box just full of flags. And then she's carrying a miscellaneous box. She digs out a trophy that obviously has a player on top of it, a football player, and it says State Final Second Place Hank Hill. She takes the plaque off of it and just chunks it. She's just like, screw it, and just chunks it over her shoulder.
Yeah, giving him a participation trophy. So this is a participation trophy episode. Jeffrey is his middle name.
Oh, well, not
Butch
today.
is his nickname.
Oh, okay.
Is what Artie says.
So next thing we see is Bobby laying on his bed. He's just kind of bored. He's throwing one of those big red rubber balls up in the air, and it falls and hits him on the head. So you get a lot of owls. And then Peggy comes in. Hey, Bobby, look who's here. Me. I'm going to start entering rooms that way. Hey, look who's here. It's me.
It's me.
She
Peggy.
goes, now, I thought you'd never win a trophy, but that was before this. Congratulations. She gives him a trophy, and it says Bobby Hill winner. That's all it says. It just says winner.
Big winner.
Bobby says, I don't remember competing for anything. She goes, oh, yeah? Well, you won first place in the international competition for being the best you could possibly be, huh? You're one of the funniest people in the house. You get most of your clothes in the basket. You always turn off the light when you leave a room. Frankly, the contest wasn't even close. Well, who was he running against?
That reminds me of that story where Dolly Parton went to a Dolly Parton lookalike contest and won and got 4th place.
Bobby says, I don't know. It all sounds pretty much like just getting up in the morning. Peggy says, well, the great ones make it look easy. Look, Bobby, they don't give trophies for being a sweet, sweet, sweet boy, but they should. And they have. I did. It's always about her.
It's always about her. Bobby, and if it's not about her, it's about her.
Bobby, he this picks up his spirits a little bit, and he goes, I'd like to thank my mother, my agent, my baby's mama. Things didn't look good at the beginning of the season, but they believed I could be the best Bobby I could be. Next, we transition to Hank in the kitchen reading the paper, and he's just kind of wandering out loud until we see that Peggy's in there. And he says, I wonder who will get the nomination to carry the torch through Arlen. I think it ought to be that boy down at the Waffle House. His Jesus T-shirts are an inspiration, and he busses those tables better than most two-arm folks. Peggy pours some orange juice and goes, no, he doesn't. And that's it. That's all she says. She's just like, I don't like that kid in his Jesus shirts. Bobby comes walking in. He goes, sausage, the breakfast of champions, which I agree with him there. Hank says, hey, that's my trophy, because he's carrying the trophy that Peggy just gave him. He goes, Bobby says, it's my trophy. Mom gave it to me for being the best me I could be, and I graciously accepted. See, there's a little bit of Peggy in him.
Little bit.
I graciously accepted.
Yeah.
He goes, it's a football trophy. That's a running back fending off a tackler. He goes, oh, I thought it was me putting my Nerf ball away in the toy hamper. And Peggy said, well,
that's good.
She was, well, Bobby, it could be. Well, it was just sitting in a box gathering dust and dust mite feces. And Bobby says, so this one's yours too? Oh, for crying out loud. How many trophies do you have? And then he just kind of leaves. Hank says, look, Bobby, I want to see you get a trophy too, but you got to earn it. Now, most Little League teams need a husky fella to play catcher, and you like to wear masks. He says, no thanks, and just kind of does that funny, sad Charlie Brown walk out of the kitchen. Yeah. Peggy says, Hank, I am just trying to boost that boy's self-esteem. You have a shelf full of awards and a beautiful wife on your arm. Why can't Bobby have a trophy too? I love the fact that she drops that kind of stuff in there. Like, beautiful wife on your arm as a trophy is what she's saying. like a trophy wife.
Yeah. She's calling herself a trophy
calling
wife.
herself that. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, which not even at her best.
Oh no. Maybe those feet. Hank says, you don't give someone an award they don't deserve just to cheer them up. Why not make every Super Bowl a tie so everyone gets a ring and no one is bummed out? He does the air quotes.
Yeah.
He's starting to polish the trophy. Peggy's getting a little pissed off. Hank, I am having a brainstorm. Bobby, honey, how would you like to carry the Olympic torch? Bobby comes running in. He goes, you mean it? And Hank says, don't make fun of the boy. I mean, that's rough. Peggy says, I will write an essay nominating you. I will open with a joke, but not at your expense, and I will close with a quotation from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Bobby says, I'll go turn on your computer and warm up the seat. Okay.
All right. What's he going to do, breathe on it?
I think it's his big butt. All right, so we transition. All four of them are out there standing in the alley. So you got Hank, Bill, Boomhauer, and Dale. Hank is going on regaling about his trophy. Defacing my trophy was bad enough, but now she's dragging the Olympics into it. Just because Bobby wears a cape doesn't make him a hero. It actually detracts. Dale says, the same cannot be said of your average matador. I make a good point. Him and Peggy are the same person.
Exact same person.
Hank says, there's so many more deserving people in this town. She's just setting him up for a big fall, like when we told Bill there was a woman out there for him.
Ooh.
And Bill goes, uh-huh. Hey. he's very offended all of a sudden.
Yeah, he didn't like that. Yeah. Well, it is what it is.
I get it. All right, so now they're out on the front porch.
You could put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. It's
still a pig. You got it. But they do kiss better. So now the family is out on the front porch. Hank's out there fixing something. Peggy's standing next to him. Bobby comes out holding the cardboard tube from a roll of paper towels. He's practicing with the torch. He says, today is the day they're going to announce that I get to carry the torch. Although to be true to the ancient Olympians before me, I should be nude. Hank says, just in case you are chosen, you're going to have to run half a mile. That's about 500 trips to the refrigerator, just so you know. He goes, I know. That's why I've been training. He starts to just strut around in a circle holding that paper towel.
Yeah, he's getting there. Yeah, he's getting it. He's doing that mall waddle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that mall waddle.
He goes, Bobby, you seem to have a hitch and you get along. He goes, no, Dad, I'm speed walking, the only Olympic sport endorsed by the American Association of Retired Persons. Easier on the knees.
It's easier on the knees.
Peggy's, of course, oh, beautiful, Bobby. We hear a horn honk on a car. We see the News 84 news van pull up. We hear Nancy shouting, congratulations, Shug. And then Bobby gets very excited. Oh, my God, I did it. I won. I jumped for joy, but, the knees. He goes, oh, what the heck? And he jumps up and he hugs Peggy real big. And Hank's just as surprised. Bobby, you won. Oh, dang it, I just took our camera in to be developed. Boy, do you remember those days when you took a camera in to be developed? Like you get one of those disposable cameras.
Can you even do that anymore?
I don't know that you could even do it.
Is there a place that does film?
You'd probably have to send it somewhere.
Walgreens
and Walmart. Yeah, that's true.
Walgreens still does it.
That's true. And so Hank's like, oh, dang it, I took my camera in to be developed. Peggy says, to be fair, Hank, I wrote the essay, but why don't you let this be Bobby's moment? God, what?
I wrote the essay, but let it be Bobby's moment.
It just always surprised me.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but she's telling Hank to come down a little bit and let it be Bobby's.
But it's not Bobby's. It's her moment.
Now Nancy.
It's all hers.
Nancy comes up. She's got with the cameraman, and they're all focused on Hank and him and the family. And she goes, "Okay, who's ready for the big news?" And then a guy who I can only assume is representing the Olympic, what do you call it, like panel or whatever they are?
Yeah, the Olympic Committee.
Yeah, he goes, Mr. Hill, you'll be running the Arlen leg of the Olympic torch relay. Congratulations, Hank. And then Bobby grabs the trophy. Peggy goes, Hank. Bobby says, but Mom, you said I was going to get a trophy. And
Not
then,
today.
Of course, Nancy's right there with her microphone. She goes, isn't that precious? Now give the torch to your daddy. Hank says, you must want the Hank Hill from West Arlen. Hold on, I got some mail for him, too. She goes, oh, it's Shug, it's you. Congratulations. And then she whispers to him, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your business, but the Dirndl torch guy tried. Very moving. And then Bobby gets very, very sad because this moment's been taken away from him.
He thought he was going to get to do be the one to carry it.
And that is our first commercial break. We'll take that. It comes pretty early in the episode, and we'll be
right back.
Right back.
Ned Hillsdale, a hard-drinking, foul-mouthed ex-cop turned private detective in the city of Chicago. He lives dangerously, loves intensely, and drinks harder than anyone. The very things that got him kicked off the force now make him the city's best detective. Set against the low rumble of sad jazz and the hum of underground crime, Ned Hillsdale, Private Detective, is available anywhere you get your podcasts and at roguemedianetwork.com.
And we're back.
We are back. Yep.
Yep.
Here we are. So we're still on the camera. Nancy is still doing the interview, and she says, "So, how does it feel to be the official torchbearer? Are you filled with pride, humility? What are you filled with, Shug?" Arlen wants to know. Hank says, "Well, mostly confusion. See, I didn't." And then Peggy butts in. She goes, "I will tell you what he's not filled with: shame for nominating himself behind my back. I wonder what else you do back there without me knowing." Why does she just assume the worst about Hank, the guy who always defends her?
Yeah, because, I mean, if anything, it's going to be the guys that,
Yeah.
that all nominated him.
Well, and that's what it turns out being, and you never see her apologizing for it or anything.
Why would she?
Yeah,
That would mean
exactly.
she would have to admit being
That's
wrong
true.
to
She would be wrong.
apologize.
Yeah. But as they're talking about this, Nancy says, let's just get some B-roll of me smiling. And her and the cameraman walk away. Hank says, I didn't nominate myself. I hadn't written an essay since high school. Specifically, I remember it was not why I should carry the torch. It was about hammers. I want to read that essay.
Yeah, I want to read that essay too.
Bobby says, it's okay. You deserve it more than I do. He goes, well, you're a good loser, son. Thanks. Maybe someday I'll get a trophy for that. He walks off again. He's sad. Peggy says, so, Hank, if you did not write that essay, who did? He says, I don't know. Probably some satisfied customer. Dale, Bill, and Boomhauer walk up, and Dale says, the identity of the secret essay writer is a secret until now. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, Hank's signature, pointing at each one of them. Hank says, what? Dang it, Dale, you remember how mad I was when you guys washed my truck without permission? And Bill says, but you were right, Hank. The torch should go to somebody really deserving, and that's you, even if we didn't win state. Dale says, after all, Hank, America is not just a land of opportunity. It is a land of redemption. It's from the essay. I mean, he's like quoting himself. And Peggy, she goes, oh, damn, that's good. Like she really wishes she had thought of that.
Yeah, these goons.
Then they tell Hank, they say, hoist her up. Let's see how she looks. And then he lifts up the torch and they all cheer. And
Well, they all say that Dale's dumb, but he's artsy.
he is artsy.
He definitely comes. He could,
Sure.
weave a yarn. You know what they say? Something like that. Some kind of poetic.
Weave a yarn. Yep.
He's definitely a very poetic.
Now we're at Dale's. In the background, we see a big "Congrats, Hank" banner. And this is my favorite joke in the entire thing. Bill, for some reason, has both his hands down in the salsa, just spooning it into his mouth. And then at some point,
Kind of disgustingly.
Yeah, he goes, the salsa's stinging my cuts. So not only is he reaching in there and just putting it in his mouth, but he's got cuts on his hands, digging through just liquid salsa.
Yikes. Nobody eats the salsa.
Yeah.
Make sure you check your salsa for stinging cuts.
Nancy, for Band-Aids.
Yeah.
Nancy comes over and she goes, I'm fixing to bring out the tortilla chips. I'm not going to tell you again. The front door opens. Everybody cheers because it's the Hills standing there. Bobby looks at Hank and goes, how's it feel, Dad? Is it everything I hoped it would be? Hank says, I don't want to be here, and I wouldn't be here if Dale hadn't baked all day. So I guess Dale made all the baked goods for this thing.
No, but you know what's even funnier about Dale doing all the baked goods?
Yeah.
That Hank is so considerate of
That's
him
what I'm saying,
that he
yeah.
shows up
Yeah.
because his buddy cooked him a bunch of baked goods.
He made his favorite cannolis. I don't know that cannolis baked, but anyway. Peggy says, well, then, you shouldn't have had your henchman write that essay. Henchman? Where is she getting all this? Now we hear like a clinking on a glass, and Nancy's trying to get everybody's attention, normally for like a toast or something. We see a film projector on the table with a bunch of film reels. She goes, y'all want to see what Dale's been keeping in the basement for the last 20 years? The entire crowd goes, oh, God, no. They just all know. And he goes, no, not that. I made him donate that to the teaching hospital.
Yikes.
Boomhauer. And it pans over to Boomhauer, and Boomhauer is dressed like Don Johnson from Miami Vice, number one.
He's
got
slick.
The sleeves rolled up. He's got the little tiny tie.
The man is slick.
He turns off the lights.
All right.
That's right. He turns off the lights, and this gives Dale an open floor to start showing the movies and talking about it. He says, the year is 1979. Every week an entire nation turns for hope to Laverne and Shirley.
There you go. There's the
that's
callback.
it. That's a callback. Ted Koppel arranges to have 44 Americans held hostage on a soundstage in Burbank by actors impersonating Iranian fanatics. He turns on the projector and he goes, and Arlen's leading all-time rusher is Hank Hill, and everybody cheers. There's movies of Hank running the ball on the football field for Arlen High. Hank is super uneasy with all this attention, but Dale continues, the hopes and dreams of a small Texas town in the state of Texas,
Yeah.
rest squarely on the broad athletic shoulders of their star running back and his trusted towel manager. And then there's a shot of Dale, long-haired, pimply-faced, just waving towels around. He's got a shirt on that says towel manager.
Wicked towel waver.
He's something.
Speaking of football, this weekend is the 10th anniversary of a release from EA Sports for a college football game.
Oh, yeah?
The last one they released was NCAA 2014, and whenever I started collecting video games, that particular game
The last one they released was 14?
Yeah, for college football.
And then they just released one 10
years
later?
10 years later. Because what happened was
Licensing?
there was a bunch of licensing issues, and I think what a lot of it had to do is students were pissed off they weren't getting paid, because even if their name wasn't on the character, they're still modeling the characters after the students.
It's true.
And they were like, well, you're using my likeness without directly using it, but they weren't getting paid or nothing either.
With the new NIL rules, man, all
That
of
would
them are going to
opened
get
up.
paid.
Well,
Every one of them.
Well, also with that NIL thing, too, I'd seen where an ex-Nike executive had given Oregon an unlimited NIL package for as long as he is alive.
So the deal with Nike,
Isn't that what it is?
That goes to what my wife
It's
and
a
I...
former Nike, though. It's not a current Nike. It's nothing to do with actual Nike. He just used to work for
Well,
him,
here's the thing. We were watching that Wild Wild Country, and
Yeah.
the guy who founded the town that they moved into, he also founded Nike. And
okay.
he was the one who led the charge against these people coming in, this cult coming in.
Yeah.
And I think until he died, he still fought this stuff over and over and over. But apparently he just broke out a waffle iron one day and started making running shoes.
Yeah.
Because he fought in the war, and then he came back and
We'll have to check that out.
helped this track and field team. And then he noticed that the shoes are crap, and so he made his own, and that's what started Nike. I had no idea.
One of them, I don't know if it was that guy or somebody, but somebody to do with Nike at some point in their career as using his personal money, and he told, I think it's University of Oregon, the Ducks.
Yeah.
I think he told them he's giving them his wallet to do anything for NIL deals.
It's probably the same damn guy, because the guy was enormously wealthy because he started Nike.
To think.
And then
imagine that's how that's going to change the dynamic of the football
But he did.
altogether.
He coached at the University of Oregon. He basically started their track and field program.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's the same guy.
He also invented ASICs, the ASIC.
Oh, see, I didn't see anything about that. All right, so anyway, Dale is flopping towels around in the film, and then Peggy says, "Oh, look at Hank go running all over those men," and she's talking to some unknown lady, and she goes, "He doesn't care who he steps on to get his glory. Nothing's changed." God Almighty, Peggy, why are you such a bitch this episode?
Not only that, it's her husband.
That's what I'm saying, and she's just talking to some stranger.
It's her husband, Peggy.
We see on film Hank score a touchdown. Dale says, touchdown. And then Hank says, okay, stop it. No one wants to watch this. He steps in front of the screen, and you know that Hank's trying to get out of something when he says the following words. Hey, who wants to dance? Dale, help me move that couch. I mean, you know Hank is uncomfortable. Bill looks at him and says, what's the matter, Hank? You don't want to see the part where you broke your ankle? Dale says, film's a little grainy, but I think you can see bone. Hank kind of storms over. He unplugs the projector. The lights come back on. Boomhauer says, yeah, man, like going back in the pocket, you'd see an old snap, and then you hear that snap. Oh, man. And Hank says, I don't want to see my ankle. I don't want to carry the dang torch. And he leaves with the projector and slams the door behind him. So
it seems he's got some insecurities.
He's very upset. He's very upset.
I think Hank is worried he's going to snap his ankle while
could be
running into the home stretch.
Could be. Dale, of course, trying to fill in the pregnant pause here. He goes, anyone want to see Nancy in an art film? I'm assuming that he shot a porn with Nancy.
Shug. Yeah, she yelled at him after he did that.
Yeah, she did not like that.
No.
All right, so
but yes.
Now we transition to Hank in the living room. He's got a beer in his hand and the projector next to him. Bobby comes in and sets the torch down. He says, Dad, somebody's going to make the world's largest fruit pie. And the next day, I'm going to get the Guinness Book of World Records for eating it. Trying to make his dad feel better.
Yeah.
He goes, Bobby, I'm not in the mood for riddles right now. Well, it's not really a riddle, Hank, but all right. Bobby says, I'm just hoping you aren't backing out because you feel bad for me. I'll have my moment in the sun someday, but this one's yours. You're a hero. You took Arlen High to state. He says, I'm no hero. I'm a disgrace.
There it goes. Yeah, that middle-aged guilt that I didn't fulfill my high school destiny. Yeah.
Well, he turns on the projector. They start watching the film. Bobby says, okay, well, your trousers were filthy, but so were everybody else's. He goes, just forget about it. Keep watching. Bobby says, oh, wow. And then Hank scores, and Bobby's like, oh, look at you dance or whatever. And he says, oh, there's more. And then you see Hank walking like an Egyptian. So he's celebrating a touchdown, which is not like Hank at all. Bobby says, that's amazing. I didn't realize people walked like Egyptians back then.
Whatever that means. That was good, yeah.
Hank says, it's shameful. A worst kind of useless showboating. The only thing missing was an earring. That's pretty good. He goes, and on the very...
Is he making fun of Deion Sanders?
He's making fun of anybody who's flashy.
But he's a Cowboys fan. Can he make fun of Deion?
Yeah, absolutely he can.
Well, he can, but I don't think he would be pointing that at Deion Sanders because Deion Sanders, the way he played, he was like one of the only people that you could think of that was super flashy that I could think of in my lifespan of football that was flashy like that, but also replicated the flashiness in their playability too.
For the most part. Now, the big thing that hung over Deion Sanders' head his entire career was the fact that he wouldn't go over the middle to take a pass because he didn't want to get hit. So he liked to catch on the sidelines, and he wanted to be the man.
Because he could always beat the guy. He was always fast enough to beat whoever was on the outside.
But I think to Hank, it's anybody who showboats, anybody that's flashy. You just go to work, you do your job, and you come home kind of thing, even if you're a professional athlete, And I will say this. There is something in sports, especially football. If you are on a competitor team and then you come to my team, I'm not going to trust you as much as the guy who's been there the whole time.
No, and also
so Deion Sanders played for Atlanta.
Yeah, he played for a few teams.
Yeah, and then he ended up with Cowboys.
But also, sports ruins your feet. Deion Sanders is a perfect example.
Didn't he have one cut off?
Multiple toes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He's still got most of his feet, but he's got a lot of. It's a hack job down there. He's got like 8 toes, I think. Well, because you always hear.
Takes his feet off. Takes his shoes off. People stop to watch as they roll by in their cars.
Whenever he's interviewing with somebody he's personal friends with, you can tell because they always make fun of his feet or his inability to walk properly or whatever.
Now he's a coach at University of Colorado.
Buffaloes.
Yep.
We'll see how it goes this season.
Yeah, I think
this is the new. This is the new NIL. This is the first NIL season, I think, isn't it? Isn't this
will be the second one? This will be the second
one,
NIL season. But this year, you're talking.
It's kind of fleshed out now. It's kind of like they understand what they can and can't do and what the boundaries are and how much money is going to be spent.
You're also in the Big 12 now, which they'll have a much better chance of winning the Big 12. Yeah.
So that might be an interesting game to go. You know, I don't go to Baylor games. I have an access to.
Not a long time.
I have an access to free tickets to one of their super fans who gathers up tickets.
That's not true. I did go to one because we sponsored one. Rogue did.
Oh, okay.
And we got to go up in the press box and stuff. And it was
do that again. Do that when the Buffaloes get here. I'd love to go check that out.
Well, it was one that Pete was calling also.
Oh, okay.
Pete Sousa was doing
That'd be cool if he's calling a Cowboys or the Buffalo game.
It would be cool. Yeah. All right, so Hank says, it's shameful. The only thing missing was an earring. He goes, and on the very next play, going for the 2-point conversion that would have won us the championship, I broke my ankle. God was punishing me for being prideful. He didn't give me a fatal heart attack because he still wanted me to sell propane. All right, Trump. But he made his point. Bobby goes, that's crazy. God wasn't punishing you. It was just a coincidence. He goes, no, it was God. Bobby says, is this why you're so uptight all the time? Because you think something bad's going to happen if you act happy? And he's just like, He goes, remember when you saw that bumper sticker that says, honk if you love America? You smiled, you pumped your arm, you honked twice. He goes, well, I do love America. He goes, and your car didn't go off the road. He goes, you're right. We drove home safely. So he's starting to get, like, he's got a little hope in him. And Bobby's giving him a little hope, which is nice because it's gone both ways now. You know, Hank has pumped up Bobby. Bobby's pumped up Hank. So it's, you know, back and forth. Now we're in bed with Peggy and Pank. Peggy and Hank, and I don't think we've had a bedroom scene for the last couple episodes.
Do the Panky and turn yourself around.
That's right. He goes, you know, he's only 13 years old, but maybe Bobby is onto something with this it's okay to feel good stuff.
Hank, what?
Peggy says, well, if Bobby says it's all right for you to run with the torch, I will not oppose him, and I will not oppose you. I will let you run unopposed.
Yeah, I'll let you run unopposed like it's an election.
like it's her damn choice either. All right, so next thing we see, they're out in the garage. It's Hank and Bobby. Hank has the torch in his hand. He's running on a treadmill. Bobby is basically his Burgess Meredith. He's coaching Rocky here, you know, showing him keeping time and writing notes and all this stuff. And Hank is saying, you know, running with the torch won't get me in front of the Wheaties box, but it sure does give me that front of a Wheaties box feeling. And if you guys don't understand what he's saying there, the cereal Wheaties used to feature professional athletes.
For a long time, right? That was because Wheaties is an old cereal. It's like a really
very
long.
Old. Yeah.
They used to have athletes, not just Olympics, right?
Yeah, no, it was all kinds of athletes. Yeah, different
track and field, swimming.
Jordan was on it a lot. You know, I know David Robinson was
Babe
on
Ruth.
it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know about Babe Ruth.
He might be too old.
Yeah.
He played here in Waco.
Yeah. Well, he played against the Negro League, right?
No, they played the Waco Pirates. They were a
AAA.
Part of the Pittsburgh Pirates, but they were here in Waco over there by the Silos.
Farm league team.
Is where the professional baseball team. No, I think they're a streamlined, mainline professional baseball team. It actually eventually ended up getting shut down because of after the tornado, it got damaged in '53, and then the train tracks and stuff right there used to interfere with the baseball games, all the noise of the train.
Oh, I
don't
doubt that.
So
interferes with everything now too.
They kind of shut it down. They're not honking their horns through here no more, though, are they?
They still are, but it's supposed to be a quiet zone, but nobody knows when that's supposed to start.
Yeah.
All right, so he says, you know, it gives me that front of a Wheaties box feeling. And Bobby says, all right, come on, more, less talky, more walky. Give me another half mile. Hank just kind of laughs at him. Now we are in the middle of the street. It's the day that the torch gets passed. Arlen welcomes the flame as the banner up over the street. Hank's there in his Olympic gear. He's kind of stretching. And, of course, Dale's there handing out towels in his towel manager shirt. Hot or cold towel, Hank? Well, my torch hand is getting a little slippery. Look at us. It's just like when we were in high school. You secreting, me absorbing. And, you know, these are the very same towels from back then. Gross.
Really gross.
Really gross.
That's disgusting.
Because it's at least 20 years, 25. I mean, it's been a few.
Been a long time to have the towels still there.
Guy comes up with a newspaper, which I thought was weird. Like,
that's something you should be getting every year.
Well, the guy's newspaper or towels?
I think they should replace the towels either biannually or annually.
Well, I think these have just been in Dale's basement. Is probably where these things have been.
Well, you know, Dale's
that's even grosser.
Dale's a collector.
Yeah, he's a collector.
He probably had them down there sterilized in Mountain Dew vats. He had them down there
that's
soaking.
The thing. Remember, everything down there got soaked in Mountain Dew at one point.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew and gerbil piss.
He's probably the only person ever to have Mountain Dew like in enough quantities to where you could swim in it.
So a guy comes up to him, and like I was saying, I thought this was weird because a guy comes up to him. His voice sounds vaguely familiar, so I don't know if it was somebody like a star that did the voice or whatever. But he just comes up with a newspaper and goes, hey, it's Hank Hill, the torch guy. You were 12 across in today's Arlen bystander crossword puzzle. Will you sign it for me in pencil? And so I'm he just wanted him to fill in the 12 across.
Yeah.
Is all it was. So the crowd starts chanting, Hank, Hank, Hank. And Bobby says, come on, give him a little taste of it, Dad. And he holds the torch up to the sky, and everybody cheers. And then Peggy says, okay, remember, honey, you're going to be on TV, so do not do that thing with your nose that you're not aware of. Hanks goes, what thing? What thing? How do you go to somebody and go, hey, don't do that thing you don't know you do? I don't understand that at all.
I don't get that one either.
So Nancy and the news camera walk up to Hank. Now they're on camera. And the part I love about this is Nancy is overpronouncing the words. So she's like, I'm here with live Arlen torchbearer Hank Hill.
Let me run down some facts real fast.
Yeah.
So the torch, the actual torch that was used in the '02 Olympics looks nothing like the one that's depicted in the show, obviously. The original one actually featured design where the flame was actually encased in glass.
Oh, yeah? So it wouldn't blow out?
So it wouldn't go out. Also,
just like the Pope?
Just like the Pope. Yeah, the Pope mobile.
Yep.
And another one that I forgot to mention a while ago when we're talking about the wall clock and Egyptian thing, that's actually a song from '86 by the Bangles, Wall Clock and Egyptian. And that particular Egyptian walk or dance
Susanna Hoff
was performed by Steve Martin on Saturday Night Live.
That was King
Tut.
Yeah, that was on his album. I had that album.
Yeah, he's
Wild and Crazy Guy was that album. Yeah, that's the one where he used to wear the arrow in his head and tell actual jokes.
Born at Hillcrest on 18th Street, I believe. Yeah. Also, the outfits that Hank and the other torchbearers wear, that particular outfit that they're wearing is more reminiscent of the uniform that the Canadian Olympic team was wearing.
I thought it looked very Canadian with the red burst and the white.
No, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. It's more like the Canadians than it is the other one.
So Nancy is still interviewing Hank. She goes, which hand do you think you will carry the torch in? He goes, the right. She goes, did you give any thought to the other hand? He goes, no, I did not. I mean, and then he like touches his nose.
Yeah.
And so you know exactly what Peggy was telling him not to do. The crowd cheers. Nancy looks in the camera and goes, sounds like the Durndal torchbearer approacheth. Approacheth? Why?
Sounds like a fish.
I love this part, too, where Bill says, finally, it took him forever. And Peggy is standing next to the guys making fun of this, and she goes, well, they're not exactly swift in Durndal. And then you see the guy come around the corner, and he's in a wheelchair. So they all stop. They all stop, and Dale goes, oh, he is so brave. It's so funny. All right, so
that's a hit at her, obviously. Yeah.
Definitely. Hank steps out to take the flame. Right before Hank takes off with the flame, the guy's already passed it from his torch to his torch. And Dale says, Hank, wait. He comes out and he lights his cigarette on the torch before he can take off. Yeah. Hank says, dang it, Dale, this flame traveled 3,000 miles plus the distance from the sun to Greece. You're tarnishing the spirit of the Winter Games. He goes, au contraire, I am inhaling it. He just sucks it up. Bobby's there. He goes, remember, Dad, haste, grace, and dignity. He goes, now move out. And he slaps Hank on the ass. And so Hank takes off. And then a little boy gives him a thumbs up. Hank gives him a thumbs up back. Everybody's cheering for him. Way to go, way to go. And then Peggy steps out of the crowd and goes, oh, my God, stop him. He's running the wrong direction. Oh, no, he's not. He's not, people. Everything's fine. I mean, just a distraction for no reason.
Nobody asked Peggy. That's one of those pick-me moments.
He's getting high fives from the crowd and all this stuff. And he goes,
he's killing it. Yeah, he's out there doing his thing, man.
Bobby's running
representing for the city.
Yes, Bobby's running alongside him. He goes, I'm so darn happy. I'd skip the rest of the way. And you see him, like, turn around, and he's running backwards and skipping and stuff, and he goes, thank you, Bobby, and everybody's whooping and hollering. Hank turns a corner, steps in a puddle, slips, the torch comes out of his hand, falls in a puddle, and goes out. And all you hear is, bah! And that takes us to the next commercial break. And we'll be right back.
Snack Attack is a podcast about the history of your favorite snacks, candies, and treats. Each 5-minute or less episode features the history of a great snack from around the world. We'll also visit what the status of the snack is today and give you a little knowledge to lord over your friend. Snack Attack is available anywhere you get your podcast or at roguemedianetwork.com. Let's get snacking.
Step into the unexpected with Cultastic, or How to Start a Cult Without Really Trying. A podcast where cult creation unfolds in the most unpredictable way. Join us on a unique journey into the world of theoretical cult formation. Unlike any other podcast, each episode of Cultastic is co-written in part using ChatGPT, and we let it decide our fate, good or bad. What makes Cultastic truly intriguing? We don't know what's coming each week. Together with our AI co-author, we'll discover and build this cult, one episode at a time, exploring various aspects of cult dynamics, leadership, and group psychology. Delve into themes of charisma, influence, and the power of group thinking. It's a blend of expert analysis, theoretical exploration, and the unforeseen twists of AI-generated ideas. Remember, Cultastic is an exercise in imagination and education where we weave a narrative one episode and one tenant at a time. Curious about where this journey will take us? Subscribe to Cultastic or How to Start a Cult without really trying on your favorite podcast platform or at roguemedianetwork.com. Let's build this mission to save the people of Earth, week by unpredictable week.
All right, here we go.
Torch juice.
And we're back. Hank is face down in the street. The torch is just
He
laying
tripped and
there.
fell.
Yep.
Just like I did.
Yes, just like you did. How's your arm, by the way?
Healing.
Better?
Yeah, way
Good.
better. I mean, I could do this now, and I could do this, and I
Wow.
could do all this, but
Well, I can do this and this.
I just don't really have a lot of strength right now in it.
Sure.
I can't push, I can't pull, and then I can't like twist my wrist and then like lift like this, curl. I can't like curl, and then when I'm turning the car, I can't like turn the steering wheel very well yet. So
Yeah.
we're getting there though.
Well, you know, the wife just started driving again this last week.
How's she doing?
She's doing good. She's
That's
doing
good.
a lot
That's
better,
good.
a lot better, a lot better. A little bit of a limp still, but she's all right.
She'll walk it out.
Yeah, she will definitely walk it
Take
out.
a salt tablet.
So Peggy and Bobby run up to him. They see him in the street. She goes, "Hank, have you been shot?" Well, that's not the first thing to assume. He says, "No, but I deserve to be." And then Bobby looks at him and goes, "Oh, my God, the flame is out. The Olympics are over." He picks up the torch and he goes, "Those poor athletes, all their training for nothing." Yeah, that's how it works, Bobby. The torch goes out. Everybody stops. Everybody goes home.
That's not how it really works.
No, it's not. He goes, "You
But
see?"
Artie said if you notice his pants and the front, like Hank, if you look at Hank there and then you look at Hank in the video of him playing football, he's got the mud and the dirt on him and
the
everything.
exact same
So
mud and
it's
dirt.
like the mud and the dirt signify Hank's insecurities and his
Yeah.
failures.
That's good. That's a good point, Artie.
Yeah,
Nice
that is a good
job.
one. That is a good one.
How
Thanks, Artie.
poignant. I
That
feel
is
like we
very
ought to just
poignant,
stop the podcast at this point. He goes, "You see, Bobby?" And he grabs the torch from him. He goes, "This is what happens when you act happy. Thanks a lot." Why are you blaming it on your 12-year-old?
Act happy. You hear that though? He didn't say
Yes.
this is what happens when
No,
you are
no.
happy, when you act happy.
Bobby said,
So is Hank just in a perpetual state of miserable?
He is. He is. I
think
believe he
so.
is.
I think so.
Bobby says, "I was just trying to help." And Peggy goes, "Okay, I will find an Olympic official, or would you like to turn yourself in, Hank?" What? He's going to turn himself in for what?
For what?
Falling?
For what?
He goes, and this baffled my brain. He goes, "No, I already ruined the most important game in Texas history. I'm not going to ruin these games. All right, here's the plan. I didn't fall and the flame didn't go out. Is everybody clear on the plan? holy crap, Hank invented a lie.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he just like, nope, screw it, I'm lying.
He's building it right in front of us.
Oh,
Like
my
he's
God.
putting the pieces together.
So he pulls out a lighter. He lights the flame. Bobby looks at it and goes, that's not the real flame. That's just fire. It's cheating. He goes, no, it's fine. It's fine. It looks exactly like the old flame. And then he pastes on this. I have never seen Hank smile that way. It was just the creepiest Joker type smile, just very fake, lots of teeth.
And you could really go through this episode and find so many shitty Peggy lines. This is
100%,
one of the
yeah.
heavier shitty Peggy episodes because she's got some more shitty stuff coming up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, if she's alive, she's shitty. The crowd is cheering. You can see Hank. He's starting to run into McManerberry. Peggy and Bobby are walking behind him, and he's talking to his mom. He's running with a flaming lie. How am I gonna enjoy the figure skating with this dark cloud hanging over us? Oh, I know your pain, Bobby. Peggy says, Bobby, if your father doesn't go through with this, the Hills will forever be known as the family that ruined the Olympics. Now, I can go back to using my maiden name. I have no idea what you'll do.
That's what I'm saying there, right there. That is horrible.
So he comes into McManerberry, kind of jogging, walking fast, whatever. There's a big guy in there, a big African-American guy, and I thought that maybe he was a star of some kind because it seemed like I knew his voice.
The other guy?
Yeah.
Phil Lamar.
Is that who it is?
You're talking about the guy that when he runs off, he's like, I'm a brother
Yeah,
with a torch.
yeah.
Him,
And that's the
Phil
only
Lamar.
reason to point out that he's a black guy because he says that at the end.
No,
you know?
it's Phil Lamar, yeah.
Yeah, he says, stop hot dogging it. No, he says, I'm sorry. He goes, come on, Arlen, 20 more feet. That's all you got. And guy's waiting on the flame. He goes, yeah, you got it. This is for the rings, baby. And then Hank looks around. He gets ashamed and slows down in the street. And the guy looks at him and goes, what the? Come on, man. It's only a couple more steps. Peggy goes, why is he slowing down? Dale walks up for some reason. He goes, he's 40. Cut him some slack. Then we go back to the guy waiting on the flame. Stop hot dogging it. You had your time in the sun. Come on, baby, give me some flame.
Quit hot dogging it.
And then Hank looks at the crowd, looks around, and puts the torch out on the ground.
Yeah.
The whole crowd starts cheering, jeering, booing.
Everybody's like, what?
The guy goes, what are you doing? Oh, man, that's weak. And then you hear Bobby go, oh, he put it out. And then Dale goes, because he's a quitter. I never quit. Hell, I've been smoking for 30 years. And then he lights one cigarette right off of another one. You hear that big Olympic music in the background. It's a great scene. Bobby goes, the flame. And he grabs the cigarette from Dale. So this is the only connection between the flame where it was and where it went.
Yeah, because he lit it off the
Dale,
torch.
Yep,
so
he lit his cigarette off the torch.
It's technically the only ember left from the original flame.
Bobby runs off with the cigarette, and Dale goes, my oral fixation. And then Hank, he's looking at the guy that was waiting. He goes, but you don't understand. That wasn't a real flame. The guy goes, you don't understand. I lost 500 pounds. I'm a hero. 500
That's
pounds.
a lot of pounds.
Bobby runs up and he goes, don't worry, Dad. I'm coming as fast as I can. This cigarette was lit with the Olympic torch. The flame lives. Everybody cheers. They light the flame again. Hank goes, all right, Bobby. Bobby says, it's going out, Mr. Gribble. Smoke, smoke. He's running with the cigarette. Dale runs up, and he's completely out of breath. He lights it again, and puffs on it a little bit. And then Bobby is able to go up there and light the other torch. I'm sorry, he's able to go up there and hand it to Hank. They light it back up, and then Hank looks at him and goes, Bobby, you earned it. And then Bobby's able to light the torch from that cigarette. And then the guy goes, all right, last guy to put it out. Bar's pretty low, Todd. You can do it. That's right, McManerberry. Brother running with a torch and not a damn thing you can do about it. The crowd just cheers.
That's my favorite scene, yeah.
All right, and then so we've successfully passed the flame on to McManerberry.
McManerberry now has the flame, and it is running with Phil Lamar.
Yeah. And so we're back in the trophy room, looking at the trophy shelf. Hank says, for preserving the honor and integrity of the Olympic flame and all it represents, I hereby award this trophy to Bobby Hill.
There you go, Bobby.
They move one of the spider plants and then hands the torch to Bobby. He goes, I guess if you wanted to do a celebration dance, that'd be all right. He goes, not now, Dad. And he puts the torch up on the shelf, and he goes, now. And then he starts doing the Egyptian walk.
Yep,
And
walk like an Egyptian.
Hank looks at him and goes, all right, that's enough, Bobby. And that is it. We get the credits.
That's
and,
it.
of course, after the credits, we do hear Bill go, hey, like he doesn't have a woman.
So, quick fact for the very end here.
Yeah.
During the relay for the 1976 Montreal, rain extinguished the Olympic cauldron, which
Really?
is where they light the torch. And also in the 2014 Sochi games, which I believe this was ones that were in
Japan.
Japan,
Yep.
yeah. Wind blew out the torch, and they sneakily relit it
Oh,
with
wow.
a lighter. So
It's
not the
very,
first time it's happened.
well, it's super symbolic is all it really is. I mean, it doesn't really have there's no way you could do it for a million years like they've done it and have it not go out at some point.
Yeah, not go out at
you
some
know?
point. Yeah, unless they're lighting it off of Sochi was Russia. It was the Winter Olympics in
Oh,
Russia.
that's right.
It would be cool if they lit it from like the volcanic flames of the Mount Etna in Italy or something like that.
Sure. But it has to all come from Greece because that was the first place
Which
with the nude Olympics.
been listening to a lot of classic Greek lately, and it's
Have you?
It's,
Classic Greek what?
Well, what the guy is he's his name is Dr. Ammon Hillman,
Okay.
and he's like the
Invented the mayonnaise?
top. No, he's like top. He's like top 2 or 3 in the world when it comes to translating Greek texts.
Oh, okay.
And what he does is he's translated a lot of Greek texts around the same era where all the Bible was being written.
Yeah.
And a lot of contradicting things and stuff like that from what we know is the Bible, how it was constructed by the early Christian church. And he kind of just really just
Well, the thing
goes through and breaks down the words. He'll show you what the
Yeah.
words are.
Yeah.
And he's using this translation or whatever, and he goes through and picks apart each word and
I think
tells you
some
what
of
it
it was
means.
in Aramaic or something too, right? I mean, there was a lot of it.
Yeah,
but
most
the
of it was
problem
ancient
is,
Greek, though, because the number one language at the time for anything, because of the size of the vocabulary for ancient Greek, has somewhere between 500,000 and 1.5 million estimated, because it's still not, they're still discovering and they're still learning. That's how many words there are.
Sure.
And that's how hard it is to translate. That's why it's so hard to translate ancient Greek, is because there's so many words. And he said that with the Bible and everything and all of the religious texts that we have now, a lot of them were translated poorly for whatever the agenda was by the translator's agenda. So he says that a lot of it doesn't even align with what's really true. And a lot of the Bible as we know it now, a lot of it is a lot of the stories and stuff. There's an ancient Greek story that goes with most.
Oh, I
every
don't doubt
story
that
kind
one
of thing,
bit.
so.
When you think about the Bible, I mean, it's been translated, retranslated, stolen, redone a million times.
Well, the thing that I
about
really
whatever government was in charge.
Well, the thing that I appreciate about the guy the most is a lot of seminarians, they don't give sources a lot of the time.
Yeah.
They just tell you, this is what I know. But this guy gives you the exact source information.
That's cool.
And nobody's trying to refute what he's saying. So all of this crazy, super controversial stuff that he says actually got him investigated. He was working. He was at a Catholic university where he was working at, and he's a sought after guy because he's one of the foremost experts in classic Greek, ancient Greek, and they actually investigated him for demonic possession and portal opening.
Oh, wow.
By the
Portal opening.
Yeah, that's what he got fired for.
Okay.
He got fired for that. So, but no academics, none of the academics that are in his field contest anything that he says or comes out with, because all he does is read what's written. He doesn't try to change it or anything. He's just literally does it. He takes a really scientific approach with it and translates it as it's 100% supposed to be translated, and then just gives that information to you. And a lot of the times that information is contradictory to everything that you've ever learned.
Sure.
Like Jesus Christ's disciples weren't grown men; they were all like 10 to 12-year-old boys. And that kind of changed because my children. He says a lot in the Bible, my children, when they were actually, after it's translated properly, it's actually children kind of thing. So I don't know, interesting, weird stuff.
Absolutely. So everybody thank you once again for joining us. We really appreciate it. If
Yeah,
you
we
want to,
do.
if you
We
want to
appreciate
reach
it a
out to
lot.
Liquid Death, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Head over to the Patreon. It's $3 a month. It helps us just keep the lights on, keep the cameras rolling, keep the sound being recorded, keeps Mason in Pop-Tarts. And remember, on these Monday episodes, video on Spotify as well as video on YouTube.
Yeah, you get it on
Everywhere
YouTube.
else, you get your podcast as you normally
On YouTube,
would.
you can actually get it audio and video.
That's
they
true.
Both.
That's true.
The RSS feed automatically updates the audio, and then we
Sends the
put the
audio.
video up. So that's where you're getting it at. Yeah, you can get it there.
You want to tell them where else they can find us?
Yeah, you can find us everywhere. BWAAAKOTH. You could do .com after that, or you can go to the social media pages. BWAAAKOTH. If you do go to the YouTube, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell.
Yeah, please do.
For when we go live and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Big deal. All right. Well, thank you again, guys, for joining us. We really appreciate it. We'll be back here on Friday with some more nonsense. And
Nonsense.
other than that, we'll see you again on Monday.
And old women Tanya.
Women Tanya, indeed. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.